going to kick off our call. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Want to welcome everybody on the call. We got a great show lined up for you, a lot of great content. Obviously, this is going to be recorded. We'll get it out. We'll get it posted onto our YouTube channel so you can view it later. But glad to see we've got a very, very high attendance today. So certainly appreciate everybody taking the time to get on, something we don't take lightly. So with that, let's go ahead and officially kick off our call. Just want to make a real quick announcement. A couple of top performers that really kind of stood out to me last week. We had Tom in Northwest Indiana, 6 applications for $6,266. Those were all final expense apps. And then Lee, one of our managers down in South Florida, besides, being a manager, Lee also writes business too, and he was able to put 2 really nice size apps together, 2 applications for $6,325. So nice job, guys, for putting up over 6,000 in 1 week. And then for our new folks that are on the call, I see a couple of new names or returning names that have been on the call a couple of times. Very, very important. Make sure you get your new agent starter kit ordered. This is going to give you all the tools necessary to go out and be able to solicit business, be able to do a proper in-home presentation, go out and do your door knocking, and really be effective out in the field. And we're going to do a real quick announcement. I know most of you know who we are, but just for those new people, or maybe somebody watching this, and maybe you don't know who we are and you've stumbled across this video on YouTube. This is our senior management team for Senior Solutions. You got all 3 of us today. My name's Joe Johnson. I'm going to be your host today. I'm the founder and president of and CEO of Senior Solutions. We got Michael Mahalik, Director of Agency Development, and then Jimmy Hernandez, Agency Director out in Texas. And Jimmy's also our in-house certified financial planner, as well as a certified tax advisor too. So guys, this is your management team. Now, first thing we're going to move into is there's a lot of anticipation about the CVS Aetna program. Okay, we rolled it out. It's been, I think, about a month or so. There were a couple of states that were kind of behind the ball. Pennsylvania was one of them. We just finally got that approved. So if you were in Pennsylvania and you're waiting for the CVS Aetna program to hit, it's available. I know we've got probably just recently we contracted, gosh, I want to say close to 20 or 30 new agents down in Florida. A lot of you already have your Aetna number, but you know that the CVS product has not been approved there. From what I hear, it will be approved very, very soon. But what I want to briefly discuss, I just want to take a few minutes and discuss that Aetna already has or had a final expense product for the most part that was approved nationwide through the Continental Life Company. Okay, so if you are, this little segment is mainly geared towards our agents in Florida that have been patiently waiting for CVS. I got a great little surprise for you. I've been doing some studying, and I really, really, really like this product. In fact, in some cases, it's better than the CVS product. So the cool thing is that as an agent, if you're contracted with Aetna, you're going to have access to both products, the CVS and the American Continental. So with that, let me go ahead and roll into this. And let me get I'm going to get a highlighter here so I can highlight just a couple of things that I think are important. Okay, so plan availability. Okay, this plan is a 3-tier product through American Continental. You've got the standard level plan, which we're all familiar with. Guys, it goes from issue ages 45 to 89, just like the CVS product. The only difference is CVS, I think, starts at age 40. So there's only 5 years missing there. Not a big deal. Death benefit goes down as low as 3,000, as high as 35,000, depending upon their age, I believe, is the reason why there's an asterisk. And it is a full death benefit from day one. They also have a graded death benefit. Okay, now what you have to understand is a little bit difference in the terminology. With this program, graded means is that they will get a portion of the death benefit day one. So how it works is with graded, and this is going to be issue ages 45 to 80, benefit amount all the way up to 35,000, which is great. But it will cover the client in the first year for non-accidental, meaning natural causes. It's going to cover them for 40%. So as an example, if you take out a $10,000 death benefit under graded and they pass in the first year, they're still going to get a $4,000 death benefit. They're way ahead of the game. And if it's in year two, meaning 13 months to 24 months, it's 75% of the death benefit. Tremendous, tremendous. And the pricing is really good. Now the modified is simply a return of premium. So if they're in really poor health condition, they have to go modified, it's 110% basically return of premium. Now, one thing that is a little bit different about this product is that there is a point of sale phone interview that is required. So whether you're doing a paper app or you're doing the e-application, what you're going to want to do is after you do the application and you've asked all the preliminary health questions and you've determined what you feel is the client's eligibility, that's when you're going to want to go ahead and do the phone interview to go ahead and get them a jet instant approval right over the phone. And you need to do that whether you're doing an e-application or a paper application. And then very briefly, I'm going to just kind of go over what I consider some of the strong points of the underwriting. These are the health questions. As you can see, it's a cascading application. So if they answer yes to any of the questions in section A, they're not going to qualify. They put a big X through them. That's your knockout. If they answer yes to anything in section 2, they're going to qualify for the modified program. And if they answer anything yes in the last section, it's going to be graded, which is that 40, 75%, and then 100% after year 2. Okay, here are some of the things that really stood out to me. Just like the CVS Aetna, on the American Continental, there is no height and weight question. So they can be, extra chubby and they don't care. Diabetic complications, they're except for a few things, they're relatively friendly on diabetics. So they can have neuropathy. They don't even ask the question about neuropathy. So they can have diabetic complications like that. They will get a preferred rate or level benefit. Here's one that really threw me for a loop. Amputation due to disease. Guys, it's all the way down here. Yeah, it's all the way down here in question 7. So if you have a client that has had a severe complication due to diabetes, maybe they had to have their toe or their foot or even their whole leg amputated, they can still get graded, which is amazing, because with most carriers like Mutual of Omaha and a few others, if they answer yes to amputations, it's an automatic decline. You'd have to go guaranteed issue. This is a way you don't have to go guaranteed issue. Congestive heart failure. Guys, your client can currently have congestive heart failure and still get a graded death benefit, which is going to give them 40% year 1, 75% year 2. Cardiomyopathy, same thing, 40, 75%. These are two things that I know as heart conditions that in a lot of cases are going to be considered automatic declines. Internal cancer, only a 2-year look back for internal cancer. I'm going to tell you something here in a minute that's going to blow your mind, okay? COPD, graded death benefit. I know with COPD, a lot of times you can get clients standard with other companies, but a lot of times, what do you do with that client that has COPD and they're insulin dependent diabetic and they've had neuropathy? That's going to knock them out in a lot of cases. You can still go graded with American Continental. Mental illness, they really don't seem to care. You can have bipolar depression, you can have schizophrenia, you can be taking the, the major antipsychotic medication. You're going to be okay. Here's another question that's usually, in a lot of cases, a knockout with a lot of companies. Wheelchair confinement. With American Continental, you can still get graded. Here's a couple of things that I noticed. I just took a look at the Mutual of Omaha application. There's 4 questions, which are pretty lengthy, that are knockouts that you could get graded with American Continental. One is that does the client require assistance for activities of daily living, such as taking medication, bathing, dressing, eating, toiletries, getting out of bed, bowel or bladder problems? Guys, with Mutual, that's a knockout. American Continental, they don't even ask the question on here. Wheelchair use is a knockout with Mutual. Here you can get them graded. Congestive heart failure is a knockout. It's not with American Continental. Diabetic insulin shock, diabetic coma, or amputation. Guys, nowhere on this does it ask about diabetic coma or insulin shock. So you can have that client that, maybe a couple of years ago had a really bad, really got sick with their diabetes. Maybe they went into insulin shock. You can still get them covered preferred potentially with American Continental. Here's another one that is pretty crazy. Internal cancer. And as long as their internal cancer is over 2 years, you can get level, okay? If you read the questions, and I'm not going to go through them, but if you read the questions in section A, which are the knockout, nowhere in those 2 questions does it ask you about cancer. The only thing it asks is that if you have a life expectancy less than 12 months. So hypothetically, let's say you got a client that is currently diagnosed with cancer. Like you're walking in, they say, yeah, I got prostate cancer. I'm going through radiation chemo, or I got breast cancer, whatever the situation is. Ask the question, have you been told by a medical professional that you have a life expectancy of less than 12 months? Oh no, my prognosis is good. None of that. Then all they would have to do is answer the question that they've been treated for cancer within the last 12 months. Guys, you could still get them modified, which means you can get somebody covered with cancer as long as they're, haven't been told that they have a life expectancy less than 12 months. You can get them a modified plan through American Continental, which is going to be for you and the agent is going to be better than having to go guaranteed issue. So those are just some of the strong points that I want to bring up about American Continental. So for you agents down in Florida that have been waiting for the CVS product to be approved, don't worry, man. Aetna's got your back. This product has been out for a long, long time. It's very, very strong. I would start writing this immediately. And I'll go over real quick how to quote it. It's very, very easy. First, on your phone, go to your app right here where it says Quotes on the Go by Aetna. Put in your zip code, and it's automatically, put in your client's information. It's going to pull up what products are available. And then here it is right here, American Continental. Final expense. That's the one you want to click on to get your quote. If you're going to do an e-application, all you have to do is go here. It's the normal, same place you would go for CVS. It's the normal Aetna agent portal. You click on Aetna quotes and enroll right there. You fill out your client's information to do the quote. Make sure you put in the zip code because that's going to be important. You need to put in a Florida zip code, and that will pull up the American Continental. You want to select this product right here, final expense, American Continental Insurance Company. Put in the benefit amount that you want to quote. In this example, I did a male age 65, level benefit $62 a month. And then you just want to quote it. And then if you're going to proceed with the e-application, you just click add to cart, and it's going to take you to the cart, and you can go ahead and finish up the e-application. And again, as you're going through the e-application, when you get to the end, after you've already asked the client all the health questions, it's going to ask you if you've done the phone interview. It's going to ask you for a reference number. That's when you want to do a timeout. You want to go ahead and do the phone interview, get your client approved, and then you put that reference number in the spot that it's asking for, and you go ahead and apply the signatures, and your application is all done and it's approved. So what do you guys think about that? About American Continental? Any comments?
Joe, it is a game changer. And Joe, as you know, I've over the last 6 to 7 months, we've talked to so many new people coming on board. So I do want to avoid any type of confusion, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of different terminology used in the insurance industry, especially the word graded is one of them. As with Mutual of Omaha, that's obviously a 2-year wait. If you pass away from natural causes during that time, you get the ROP back, return of premium, and 10%. The graded with American Continental, ladies and gentlemen, is a 40, 75, 100. So let's use an example just for its easiest sake, a $10,000 death benefit. What that means, new agents with American Continental, is that if they passed away in year 1 of natural causes, they would get $4,000 back. If they passed away in year 2, they would get $7,500 back. And if they passed away, obviously in year 3, it would be the full death benefit and so on. That is so powerful. But Joe, you know, one of the biggest things that really caught my attention, 2 things, was congestive heart failure, getting a 40, 75, 100, but especially being confined to a wheelchair. Joe and Jimmy, I think I can honestly tell you guys, with doing this for many years, I don't think I've seen a carrier do that. You know, usually we train agents, they walk up to the house to look for the wheelchair ramp, look for the oxygen use sign, obviously, on the door. And usually that's a major problem. Not with American Continental, ladies and gentlemen. You can still get them a 40, 75, 100, and they're confined to a wheelchair. So Joe and Jimmy, a real game changer, this American Continental. Even if your state does have a Sendo, the other Aetna product, I'd be also using the American Continental product. Which is just
I would look at both for sure.
Yes, Jimmy, what's sort of your feelings? I know you've been out there a good bit out there in the field. What's your feelings on American Continental?
I like it. You know, I saw that in the portal, but I did not do the research. So thank you, Joe.
Yeah, well, I needed to, because I mean, again, guys, I mean, I'm going to be looking at this too for agents with or clients with certain health conditions. But I mean, the main reason why we're doing this is because, you know, we do have a lot of Florida agents that are contracted with Aetna, but are kind of been, you know, waiting for it to be approved. Just wanted to bring that up. Now, just real quick, if you are checking us out for the first time, if you're getting this content on YouTube, you don't know who Senior Solutions is, or you haven't for some reason subscribed to our channel and you're an agent with us, this is the time of the call. I'm going to ask you, hey, if you're finding value in the content that we're bringing, please do me a favor and subscribe to our channel. We put out virtually every week. We're putting out new content out there, open to the public for everybody to take advantage of. And then next, what we're going to do, Jimmy, is we're going to go ahead and transition into your segment. And I know you were very excited to be talking about the utilization of door tags and some techniques and some strategies.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Welcome.
All right, guys. Well, I want to talk about door tagging techniques. So the first thing I want to do, and I guess set this up. So when you tag a door, there's a strategy behind that, and the strategy is they're going to call you, but you're not going to take the call. And you might be saying, what? That doesn't make sense. So, let's talk about this. So first off, I don't put my cell phone number on the callback. I have, through Google Voice, created a call number specifically just for these door tags. And so I want to walk you through this, and then we're going to walk through the strategies and explain, how this is going to work for you. So Joe, if you want to go ahead and pull up that first slide with Google Voice.
Yeah, how to set up Google Voice. Okay.
All right, so let's move it on. So by the way, Google Voice is free. So you do need to have a Google account. So like if you have a Gmail, you already have one, right? Or a Drive. If not, you need to go ahead and set up a Google account. But what you can do with Google Voice, first off, you are able to text either from the computer or from your phone. Now, the easiest way to do this is to download the Google Voice app to your phone. So, depending on what, type of phone you have, you might already have it built in, but, just go to the App Store, type in Google Voice, download the app, right? It allows you to, not only hear voice messages, but also to, I guess you could say, get like a text transcribe. So it'll convert it into text, so you don't have to listen to the message. And then you could actually place outgoing calls with it. It uses VoIP, but we're not going to focus on making calls or receiving calls, all right? So, but let me show you how to set this up. So Joe, if you can move on. So in your browser, you're just going to type in Google Voice, right? Or you can go to voice.google.com, and then you're going to sign into your Google account if you already have one. If not, you're going to have to create a Google account. But this will give you the directions on how to set that up, right? So follow the instructions. I'd say, do a screenshot of this. And then once you create your Google Voice and you pick your number, again, this is free, right? So you get like one number free. You can purchase multiple numbers if you wanted to, but that's going to be at an additional cost. And this is only for USA, right? So you can't call, out of the country. That would be, I guess, a long distance call. Anyway, so let's go to the next slide, Joe. All right. So once you have Google Voice set up, this is in the top right-hand corner of your computer or phone, and you see the little gear icon that represents settings. So that's where I want you to go. You're going to go to your settings. Okay, Joe, go to the next slide. All right. So these are some things that we're going to do. So in the settings, you're not going to forward the call to your phone. You don't want to take this call, right? And what I do, you see where it says screen calls, hear a caller's name when you pick up, you want to turn that off. That right there is defaulted on. And you really don't want the caller to hear the Google subscriber will answer your call. First, you have to leave your name, or, you don't want them hearing that. They're going to hang up, right? So it's important that you turn this off. When it rings, you want to set it up where it goes straight to your voicemail. So Joe, if you want to go to the next slide. So you would click on voicemail there on the left.
Oh, okay, hang on. So right here it says set it up. You would click on voicemail.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right. And I'm right here. I'm actually showing you two things. One, do not disturb, right? So I have that on. I'm going to turn off the message forwarding and send calls to voicemail. So like I want it to go straight to voicemail. I don't want to take the call. Then you're going to click the voicemail there on the left, and then you'll see right here. See, it says record a greeting. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to click on that. You're going to make the greeting. The greeting should be something to this effect. Hi, this is Jimmy. If you're calling because you received a yellow door tag, please leave your name and the best time for me to deliver your package. Thank you. Have a great day. And then that's it, right? You're telling them what to do, right? Joe, what's the next screen look like? Boom. Okay, so let's pause here for a second before I talk about this. So the reason why you don't want to take a phone call is because you have a very high chance of actually messing it up. You want to be able to talk to that person, right? So if they call that delivery tag and you answer the phone and they're going to say, well, what is this about? They're going to say, hey, Jim, I got this delivery notice. I haven't ordered anything. What is this about, right? And then you start to go to explain it to them. Half of those people are going to say, oh, no, I'm not interested, or just leave it at just leave it at the house, just drop it off. That's okay. You're not going to have the response that you want, right? So you're just trying to avoid that. Remember, you're trying to get face to face with them. So you don't want to take that call. We're going to talk about doing I guess the door knock technique or the door tag technique. So if you see that little Scotch adhesive dot roller, you can pick this up like at Office Depot, Office Max, or maybe just order it online, Amazon. But this can fit in your pocket. It's an like extra sticky adhesive, and it just rolls on very much like a whiteout. It rolls onto the back of the delivery notice. Now, yes, I know the delivery notice is already sticky like a post-it, but sometimes the surfaces that you have to put this on, it doesn't work well with it. So this is an extra sticky adhesive. This will enable you to put it on different surfaces and know that it's not just going to fall off, particularly if it's wet weather, right, or high humidity. So you can tag appropriately. And so I want to talk about how we're going to tag it, right? So the first thing on any door knock technique, when you're driving up to the home, you want to drive and park your car where your door faces the house, right? So this means that you're kind of approaching from the opposite direction, right? So your driver side faces the house. You want to be prepared and you want to get out quickly and walk to the house quickly. You don't want to be stumbling there for a few minutes looking at stuff. You want to be prepared. So you're going to get out, you're going to open your door, you're going to leave your vehicle running. Trust me on this. Leave it running, leave your door open, and walk up to the home and knock on the door. Okay. If we're talking about if they don't answer, right? Oh, by the way, on the way to the home, make sure you look up to the windows, smile and wave. This is going to increase your odds of people answering your door. But again, we're talking about door tags, so we're assuming that you did not get a response, nobody answered the door. You're going to fill out the card, you're going to put your name, and you're going to put your Google phone number, and you're going to tag the door, and then you're going to get on and you're going to move forward. Joe, should we elaborate a little bit why we're leaving the car running, or not really?
I mean, if you want to, I mean, I think we've discussed that on other calls, but yeah, I mean, just briefly cover that. That'd be
Briefly,
great.
I mean, we have a door knocking video that you can watch, but like just briefly, you want them to see that you pulled up, you have your door open, you walked quickly to the house. They're thinking, oh, let me see what this guy wants or this gal wants, you know, is like, it looks like it's important, right? You know, and you got a clipboard on, you're not taking your briefcase, you're not taking your big old binder with you, you know, so they're more likely to open the door. When they answer and you tell them, you know, who you are, why you're there, and they say, oh yeah, I have a minute, then you say, great, let me just turn my car off real quick, right? So you go back to your car, that's when you grab your binder or your, you know, pad folio, whatever you're using, turn your vehicle off, lock it, and go inside. Okay. But let's switch back to the door knock technique. So once you've placed your tag, you're going to get back in your car and you're going to move on to the next house. Well, if you get a phone call within just a few minutes, and if you have the app on your phone, you can see the call coming in, right? So you can see that they're calling. You just tag the door. It's easy to match the caller ID, the phone number with the lead. What you're going to do is you're going to turn around and go right back to that house and knock on the door again. And this time they're going to open the door. Okay. So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get in front of the client. Now, as a side note, let's say you're working in an area, you're door knocking, you've tagged several doors, you've been in this area, I don't know, a couple hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. Before you move on to your next area, you want to circle back and go back through the houses or the streets that you left door tags on. And if you see that the door tag is still up, well, obviously that person hasn't, you know, returned home, or, you know, they're asleep or whatever, right? But if the door tag is missing, they got your tag. You need to go back and knock on their door again. You have a very high chance of them answering the door. If they don't answer the door, you're gonna tag second attempt, right? Just tag it again and move on, right? So Joe, is there anything you want to add to that before we move to the next slide?
No, but I do have some questions that are coming up. I don't know if you want to wait till the end or handle them now.
Let's wait till the end.
Okay.
All right.
So the next slide I have is the folders. Is that what you want me to be on?
Yep. So, you know, when you're going back out to deliver their package, right? This is the package that they requested. When they filled out the lead card, they requested the information and the memorial guide, right? So again, we have other videos on how to prepare your pre-sale folder, but in this pre-sale folder is several pieces of information that's very educational to the client, and they're really going to, you know, value that information you're sharing with them. So this is what you're delivering. So if they ask you about, you know, well, what is the package? Well, this is the package that you requested, right? So let's go on to the next one, which I believe are the examples, right?
Yeah, these are real life
Messages.
I guess messages that have been converted to text.
And man, I have so many. I told Joe just to, you know, I gave him several. I said, you know, pick 5 out, but like, let's give you the example. So remember, they got your greeting. You did not take the call, and look the kind of messages you get. Hi, this is Mary Williams. I guess it was you who attempted to make a delivery, and then I guess the transcribe messed up the address. I got this, and I just went to the store, but prior to that, I've been home for 2 days, and this is a final attempt. And then it said you were here at 11:45. I guess I was here at home until 20 minutes ago when I went to the store. So I'm and she gives the phone number. Please call me. Thank you again. I was here at home at 11:45 and no one has run by my doorbell or anything, right? So she's telling you. What is she telling you, Joe?
She wants her package, man. Come back. She doesn't know why she
brother.
missed it. She's been at home for 2 days.
Yep. Here's the next one. Hi, Jimmy. My name is Mary. I think it was Boyd. I'm so sorry that I missed you at 5:10 to 5:28 today, which is June 5th. I will be home. I'm home now, but I don't know what, probably something that you're delivering. but I will be home tomorrow all day. So can you come and I'll be here. You can give me a call back and let me know when you're on the way or when you're coming. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Right? So what I would do in this case is when I'm just around the corner, like maybe a minute or two from her house, send her a quick text that I'm on the way, right? Because I'm following her instructions, but I'm not giving her time to ask any questions. By the time she's about to respond, I'm knocking on her door, right? How about this one? This is Nicholas. He lost, returned the mail for a delivery notice. Someone will be at the house this afternoon after 2 o'clock, right? So go back after 2 o'clock. How about this one? Yeah, this is Frank. You came by my house, dropped off the package, give me a call. What the reason why I wanted to put this example is because sometimes they don't tell you what time they're going to be there, but they're basically telling you two things. One, they're home now. And if you take a look at that message, it's 6:09 p.m., right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, look at the time.
So guess what? That's what time they're home when they from work, or that's what time they get home. So if you can't make it back today, swing by tomorrow evening. It's after 6, and you're gonna catch them, right? This last one, I just missed. I think she said, I just missed you, Betty Evans. You come by yesterday for delivery. We just called to let you know someone will be here today. Maybe you can call her. All right. So somebody was responding for Betty Evans in this particular case, right? So, I mean, guys, I get a ton of messages. Some are hilarious, right? Some of them are demanding that they were, at home and you didn't knock or you didn't ring their doorbell and they want their package and you better come right now. It's like, I mean, I get a lot of like stuff that just cracks me up. But again, you can hear the message, and then this is the transcription, right, of that voice message. Um, um, so I don't know, Joe, if you want to comment or elaborate on that.
Let me go over some of the questions that we're getting, okay?
Okay, sure.
And then the only thing I would elaborate, number one, me personally, um, I never call the client. I just show up. Even if they ask me to call them back, I don't call them because I don't want to, I don't want to have to explain I just want to get there and deliver the information in which they had requested. And then the other thing I just want to mention, guys, it for some reason in the back of your mind, if you're thinking leaving delivery notices is hokey, you're missing out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. I have literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars leaving delivery notices, door tags, sticky notes, whatever you want to call them. Order them. They're cheap. Guys, those little pads, it's $2.50 for a pad of 50. Order them. If you don't have them, call extra. I know they come in the delivery kit, but man, leave those door tags, man, and you can leave them. The other thing too is if you clover leaf, we talked about that last week, man. If you're door knocking and clover leafing and you're knocking on the neighbor's door, if they don't answer, leave them a door tag too. Why not? Yep. What do you have to lose? It works, man. It works like magic. And I'm just telling you, before we had these printed out where they look, professional, I just used to use like regular sticky notes, and I would just write. I just see how simple this was. I would write, "I have your package. Call me," and put my phone number. And people would call on that. So people will definitely call. So here's a couple of questions, Jimmy. Question is, where should I leave the door tag? ?
You should leave it on the door that they use to come in and out of the house. So, I'm going to say the majority of the time that's going to be the front door, but there are a lot of homes out there that the front door is kind of like a formal door, but you can tell that the driveway goes to the side of the house and you can see the side entrance that they use, I would tag that door. Sometimes I leave a tag on the door and the car. It just depends on on the scenario, but you want to just use common sense. Put it to where you know that they're using the door or where they're most likely to see it. Do not leave it on the mailbox. I've gotten in trouble about that. That's, I guess, illegal. That's only for the U.S. mail, so don't do that. Couple other things too, like a lot of times there's homes that have a fence in their front yard and it's locked, right? And the gate is locked, you can't get in. Well, two things about that. One, don't let that discourage you. I did at first. I didn't know how to handle that in the beginning. And then I thought about it one day because I really thought, man, this looks like a really good house. I could tell there's going to be a sale there, right? You just feel it. And I said, well, how would their friends who are coming to visit them get in, right? I'm like, you know what? I bet you they honk the horn. And sure enough, I honk the horn and the lady waves at the window and comes out, right? So honk your horn first off, right? That works. And then secondly, if they don't respond, just tag the fence or tag the gate, right? Sometimes there's not a fence in the front yard, but when you get up to the porch is enclosed and you're not able to knock on the front door because it's enclosed and it has like a separate gate, iron gate or something like that. I would like knock on the window or knock somewhere else or honk the horn. Again, if they don't respond, you're going to tag that entryway. Okay, Joe, what's another question?
And just real quick, that's where that extra layer of adhesive comes in handy, guys. If you're trying to tag a galvanized steel post, a fence, sometimes those sticky notes don't really stick that well. You put a layer of that extra adhesive on that, or sometimes you can envision like an old screen porch, maybe it's wooden and the paint's chipping off, and just sometimes those sticky notes just don't stick that well. I'm just telling you, you use that adhesive and it will pretty much stick to any surface, even if it's dirty or even wet. The next question is that do you call client back to schedule delivery, I guess is the question.
No, just follow their instructions. They will tell you when they're going to be home.
Okay, all right. And then the last question I have is about there's on the door tag, and let me go back. On the door tag, there's first attempt, second attempt, final attempt. Which one do you mark?
I change it up. I mean,
okay.
If like, I'll give you a really good example. Let's say I'm working in an area like those door examples of recordings. That was when I was working in Houston, right? So I wasn't going to be there 2 or 3 days. I was going for a 1-day trip, right? I'm tagging final attempt because I want like an immediate response, right? But like, I don't know, let's say I'm in a home area and I know I'm going to be circling through this neighborhood several times because I have a lot of leads. Then I'll change it up. I'll do a first, second, and final attempt. I mean, it just depends on the scenario. I don't think there's any magic to that.
Okay.
It's
I would
gonna
say
work
the same
regardless.
thing, dude. Sometimes I've marked the final attempt, and I've had people call me. They're like really pissed off and disgruntled. Like, what do you mean this is the final attempt? And so I usually go in the middle and do second attempt. Sometimes, and if I know I've been there before, I will do. We'll definitely do final attempt. But those were the only questions that had popped up.
Great.
Anything else? Do we want to get? We still have some time left. I wanted to get Michael on. Michael wanted to talk about some door knocking best practices.
Okay.
All right, so let's go ahead and transition. Thanks, Jimmy. That was great, great information. And techniques on specifically how to use the door tags. Hey, Michael Mahalik, how you doing, buddy?
I am here, my friend, just like a sponge. You know, I say in Final Expense, you learn a new thing every day. So every day we learn so much, and just so blessed to be around two experts like you and Jimmy. So taking a lot of notes and just absorbing all the wisdom.
Got it, got it. Well, I know you wanted to take a few minutes and kind of go. We've already talked about door tags, but you wanted to maybe wrap us up on some additional door knocking information. So with that, guys, I'm going to turn the call over to Mr. Michael Mahalik to discuss door knocking techniques and best practices.
Well, wonderful. Thank you, Joan. Everybody, again, this 1 hour call cannot do justice to learning how to door knock. There's an old saying, Jimmy and Joe, you can't hit a home run until you get on the baseball diamond first. And as I'm talking to agents around the country, I'm always stressing to them, you got to be comfortable with going out and door knocking and knocking on doors. And many times, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I find a real world example works very well on getting a good perspective on door knocking, because it does cause some agents, as we know, anxiety. So just think maybe you're in San Antonio and you've decided to go to the San Antonio Home Show. And you and your wife for many years have been talking about your re-landscaping your yard. You show up in a home show and you go into a landscaping booth, maybe a Southwest Texas landscaping, and you fill out one of those information cards to get more information. Well, 2 weeks later on a Saturday, there's a knock on the door. And you go to the door and you open up, and there's a guy in khaki pants, a green polo shirt, says Southwest Landscaping. He has a lanyard around his neck with his picture. It says state certified landscaper. And he says, Joe, I apologize for showing up unannounced today, but I was right around the corner helping out some of your neighbors with their landscaping, and I understand you two were interested in re-landscaping your yard. Joe, can I borrow the corner of your table for a few minutes? And what is he doing during this time, Jimmy and Joe? He's handing you the information card that you filled out at the home show. Ladies and gentlemen, in many cases, this is the exact same way it will turn out when you're out door knocking. And I think, you know, life's all about perception. You know, perception is reality, as they know. So as you're thinking about door knocking, ladies and gentlemen, sort of use that example right there. And actually, ladies and gentlemen, door knocking follows the exact same philosophy as given presentations does, and that is that it is a numbers game. It is all about 3 little letters, STP, seeing the people. Because when you're working enough leads a week, and Senior Solutions usually prescribes that you work at minimum 20 leads a week, normally 5 scenarios are going to happen when you door knock. And this is one reason, Jimmy and Joe, that door knocking is so much more effective than setting appointments by the phone. Because when you're on the phone, there's only 2 scenarios. They're going to say, yes, you can come out, Mr. Hernandez, or no, or in many cases, they're going to hang up on you. And as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, with the advent of the cell phone, what do we all have in common now in America? We all have caller ID. And Jimmy and Joe and everybody on the phone here, I don't know how many numbers you answered that you don't recognize, but I'm telling you, in the Mahalik family, we don't answer any phone number we don't recognize. And many of our clients are the same. So that's why door knocking is so effective. So instead of when you door knock, instead of there only being 2 scenarios, which with the phone, they'd say, yes, you can come out, or they hang up on you. In door knocking, there's actually 5 scenarios. So I do want to sort of piggyback on one thing that Jimmy said. Ladies and gentlemen, I live in the Southeast, and I know different parts of the country are different, but we have a lot of carports here in the Southeast. We have the common 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch here, and many agents will just tiptoe up to the door, to knock on the door and say, oh, they're not there, and they'll leave. No, ladies and gentlemen, as Jimmy was saying, many times the front door, at least in the Southeast, and I'm sure other parts of the country, is either a formal entry, or sometimes people don't use their front door at all. Some people leave their Christmas trees up year round and they can't even get to their front door. You want to go around to that carport, ladies and gentlemen. Just don't give up on knocking on that front door. Go around to that carport. Most people come in through their garage or their carport. Look in their backyard. Maybe they're out gardening. I know, Jimmy, you love to garden. Maybe they're out gardening, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to be tenacious when you're doing a door knocking campaign. So don't give up just by hitting on the front door. I thought that was a really good point you brought up, Jimmy. But 5 scenarios, ladies and gentlemen, that can happen when you door knock. Scenario number 1 is the one we all want to happen, ladies and gentlemen, and it will happen on a good many of your leads that you door knock. And it's the same scenario as we just talked about in the landscaping scenario. You're going to knock on the door and they're going to let you in because you were at the right place at the right time. And certain people may use the word luck. Well, I don't believe in luck. I believe in opportunity, meeting, preparation. And if you're seeing the people, STP in it, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be at the right place at the right time. And they're going to write business, and you're going to write business with them simply because you were there at the right place at the time, right time. Well, scenario number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is obviously when we're door knocking, they're not expecting us to show up. So they may be in the middle of something. Maybe they're watching Andy Griffith or Golden Girls or Gunsmoke. Maybe they're playing with a grandkid or crocheting, and you've caught them, ladies and gentlemen. You caught them off guard, and they're going to throw some objections to you, and they're also going to throw some clarification questions at you. They're going to ask you questions like, hey, what's this all about? Sort of put yourself in their shoes. And Joe, I love how you explained the response to what this is all about. Well, Mrs. Smith, I sure am glad you asked. Most folks that send this card in tell us that their main concern is they just didn't want to leave a financial burden behind to the loved ones. Is that the reason you sent this card in, Mrs. Smith? So, ladies and gentlemen, scenario number 2 is you gotta expect in some cases you're gonna get clarification questions. You're gonna get some resistance because the very nature of door knocking, you're showing up unannounced. You're also gonna get some objections. And the best way to handle those objections, ladies and gentlemen, is to always make sure you put yourself mentally in the right role. And that right role, ladies and gentlemen, when you're door knocking, is never, ever, ever the role of a salesperson. When you're on this side of the door, you're never a salesperson. You want to shut them down quick, try to sell them at the door. No, your role at the door, ladies and gentlemen, is one role and one role only, and that is that of a professional deliverer. Many cases, a lot of agents like to think of themselves as the FedEx driver or the UPS driver. Jimmy, I love how you sort of wear your construction vest, your yellow vest right there. And your goal at the door, ladies and gentlemen, is simply to make their delivery. You need to remember something about leads. When someone fills out a lead card or a Facebook card or even telemarketing, they solicited us. We didn't solicit them. They're soliciting us now to come out and deliver that information. So your role there at the door is to deliver that information, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I'm kind of busy right now, Joe. I'm not interested. Well, Mrs. Smith, I can certainly understand that. But you need to understand something as well. My job today isn't to say anything. My job today is simply to deliver the information that you requested. And then what you do with this information after I deliver it, well, hey, that's totally up to you. And it'll only take 7 to 10 minutes. Mrs. Smith, can I borrow the corner of your table for a few minutes? So scenario number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is you're going to get some resistance in the door in the form of clarification questions and objections. If you go to the Senior Solutions Agents website, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy and Joe have done a phenomenal job on 2 or 3 videos going in depth on how to overcome each one of these objections. Well, ladies and gentlemen, scenario number 3 is that the senior door that you knock on, that they're truly going to be busy. Now, I want to be very upfront here. Sometimes when people tell you they're busy, it's a smokescreen objection. They're not truly busy. You need to push through that objection. But in other cases, they are busy. Maybe they're getting ready to walk out the door to go to a doctor's appointment. Maybe they got to pick up their grandkids at school. As we know in America now, an unprecedented amount of grandparents take care of their grandkids. So when that happens, ladies and gentlemen, you want to respect their time, but more importantly, they need to respect your time as well. Well, Mrs. Smith, I can certainly understand that, but Mrs. Smith, I work a very large area, and I am in your area today. Mrs. Smith, would maybe later today at 4 or 6 o'clock, or maybe tomorrow at 10 or noon work for me to come back and see you? Ladies and gentlemen, again, you want to push through, because this is a fact right here, ladies and gentlemen. If you reschedule an appointment with these clients more than 48 hours out, there's about a 90% chance they will not be there. So you really always want to try to reschedule that same day or the next morning, just letting them know that, hey, you're very busy just like them. I know some agents will have their clipboard with all their leads on them, and they'll even show them the lead saying, hey, Mrs. Smith, as you can see, I'm very busy. I work a very large area. But I am in your area today. Would later on the day or tomorrow work? So scenario number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're going to have to reschedule. Scenario number 4 is what Jimmy went over, and that is that the client just isn't going to be there. And as Jimmy said, you're going to leave that delivery notice. By the way, Jimmy, I love the fact of using the anode adhesive that you can get at Office Max or Staples, Office Depot, whatever part of the country you're in, because sometimes they have that wrought iron around their door and those sticky notes just won't fit to it. And ladies and gentlemen, just don't leave one sticky note. Leave one on the door. Go around to the carport, put one on that door. If there's a garage that's closed, put the sticky note on that door as well. And then I want to re-stress, and then take your cell phone and put that person's information into your phone. So when they call back, and trust me, they're going to call back because they want to know what the delivery is. You're going to see them come in, but as Jimmy Hernandez says, do not pick up that phone, because if you do, you're just going to give them an opportunity to blow you off. No, if you're still in the area, make a U-turn and go back to their house. If you're not still in the area, ladies and gentlemen, maybe if you've already driven to another town, write down the time that they called. One thing you need to know about seniors is that they are creatures of habit. We all are as we get older. I love my mom and dad. They're both in their late 70s, but I can almost tell you every hour of the day what they're doing. If they're at the diner having breakfast with their friends, or if they're walking the mall, they go to Mexican on Friday, they go to Leo's on Thursday. Write down when they're there, so the next time you're in that area, you'll know when to stop in. And then number 5, ladies and gentlemen, the scenario is what we're going to talk about, is what we sort of call the mortal sin of the final expense, and also the mortgage protection industry. It's what we call a one-legged situation. And ladies and gentlemen, that's when you're working a lead card, and there's 2 names on there. There's Mr. and Mrs. Hernandez on the lead card, but when you knock on the door, only Mr. Hernandez shows up. And Mr. Hernandez is going to try to convince you that he wears the financial pants in the family, that he makes all the decisions. And ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to fall for that, because here is the normal train wreck that happens when you make a one-legged presentation. In other words, 2 people on the lead card, only one there. You're going to go all the way through your 45-minute presentation, and what's Mr. Hernandez going to tell you? Well, Michael, in this case, I do need to speak to Mama first before making this decision. And as we all know, that's going to be a very hard objection to overcome. So ladies and gentlemen, if there's 2 people's names on that lead card, but only one shows up to the door, you need to tell them this. Mr. Hernandez, let me do you a favor. Since both you and your wife are both on this lead card, let's schedule again when you're both here at home. Ladies and gentlemen, do not conduct a one-legged presentation, because usually, ladies and gentlemen, 90% of the time it's going to end up in disaster. Look for wedding rings also on there. Maybe you want to find out, is there another decision maker? You can even ask some of these clients, do you make your own financial decisions? And this will allow your heartache of avoiding a one-legged, we'll call it presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, not only are there 5 scenarios that you want to go through when door knocking, I also want to leave you this as well. Another way to be successful with door knocking is that you want to be properly prepared. Preparation is the key to success. When you go out door knocking, ladies and gentlemen, the number one thing you want to have with you is the lead card. If it's a Facebook lead, print it out, have that with you as well. And that's the very reason you're knocking on their door today. Again, as we said, we're not soliciting them, they're soliciting us. We're not cold calling, we're delivering information they've requested. Ladies and gentlemen, you also want to have that Senior Solutions lanyard around your neck, or you want to have your name tag, as that gives you validity. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of scams out there, and if they're looking through their little peephole, etc., or they open the door, usually the first thing they're going to see is that lanyard. Ladies and gentlemen, you want to have your business cards. What professional doesn't have business cards? Again, establishing that professionalism. And then last but not least, you want to make sure you have those handy door notices that you can stick on their door. And then mentally, ladies and gentlemen, you want to have in your head what your schedule is that day, as well as the following day, in case you do have to reschedule. So again, door knocking, not for the faint of heart, but with preparation, with practice, and with having enough people to see on a daily basis, it is definitely something that you can perfect and make you very successful. Because I'm a firm believer, Jimmy and Joe, without door knocking, most people just will not succeed in final expense. It really is one of the key skills to being successful in this business. So back to you, Jimmy and Joe.
All right, man. Well, dude, that was excellent. That was a great way to wrap up this call. Guys, we are out of time. We appreciate everybody sharing an hour of their Friday morning with us. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a great weekend, and God bless. So, Jimmy, Michael, you guys have an awesome weekend, okay?
Thank you, sir. God bless everybody.
All right, man. Thanks for being on the call. Thank you. Bye-bye.